This is the best budget pedal for synthesizers. It's the Flamma FS22 Ekoverb. It's a reverb and delay hybrid. I do own synthesizers for quite some time now, but I never thought I would put money into a pedal, right? I mean, why should you buy a still expensive pedal if you could just use the effects provided by your DAW? And you are right, there isn't a good reason. The reason you wanna buy a pedal is for the hands-on controls and maybe for some analog and digital magic. And of course it just looks cool. Especially in this case, I really dig the red color. It looks amazing in person. It's kind of like the red Xbox controller, but enough for that. Now let's get into the details. So this is an analog digital pedal. More digital than analog if you ask the right person. But there is still this confusion out there that digital pedals provide exactly the same as the effects in your DAW. That's not true. A DAW uses emulation for this kind of stuff and is therefore virtual. Although there are some differences between analog, digital and virtual, they are so minor that you can just give a damn about it. It's really more about taste and workflow. The only exception, of course, is true analog, because analog always gives some muddiness and a little bit more flavor to the sound than digital and virtual. Digital and virtual are just cleaner, virtual being the cleanest of them all. It has a reverb and a delay that you can mute and unmute independently from each other. It also has a switch which lets you choose one of 3 modes. Every mode is a combination of different reverb and delay types. The first one is a reverse delay and a swell reverb. I'm not quite sure what they mean with swell reverb. I think it sounds like a room reverb, and I'm not an expert, so I think technically both are pretty much the same. The second one is an echo and mod reverb. It sounds like some sort of church style reverb. And the third one is the reason why I bought this little thing, because it is a shimmer reverb and an analog delay and sounds fantastic. To be honest, I really just used the first setting and the third one, but I think if you're a guitar player you will also be pretty happy with the second option, but more on that later. Now let's talk about the knobs, starting with the delay. The first knob is the level, which is pretty self-explanatory. The second one is the time knob, which is pretty much just the decay time to the level of the delay. The feedback knob controls how many echoes are produced, and the tone knob is of course just a pretty simple and flat filter to get rid of the highs. Now on the reverb side we got a level knob too. If you turn it all the way up you can still hear the dry signal, but the delay is freaking loud. Now the decay is the length of the reverb. The pre-delay is exactly what it sounds. It's a little delay between the dry signal and the start of the reverb. And the tone knob functions pretty much the same as on the delay. So it's just a slight filter to get rid of the highs. If you turn the tone knob all the way down, it pretty much filters out everything except the very, very deep. The last 2 buttons are the tap, hold and the bypass. The bypass is a true bypass. The other alternative for a bypass would be a buffer bypass, and in cases of a synthesizer it doesn't make any difference at all, in my opinion at least. For a guitarist this could be a problem if they are working with really long cables, but I gotta say it's pretty clean, so I can hear any noise through my interface if I press the bypass, and also if it's not bypassed there's pretty much no noise. The other one is the tap and hold, which controls the BPM of the delay, so you can set it to whatever BPM is your song. Or if you wanna get experimental, of course you can choose a different BPM. There's also a hold / freeze option, but I never used it, so yeah. But it can make for some cool transition effects if you want to use it like that. I'm not sure what the real usage of something like a freeze button is, but never mind. But enough for that. What you really want to do is listen to that thing, and I will test it on my Behringer Crave and my Behringer TD3 acid synthesizer. I will go through every mode and some settings with you, but if you want to hear how this thing sounds in a musical context, I have a jam online where I use this thing with my Crave, and yeah, just click on that video if you want to know how it sounds in a complete musical setup. Now let's hook this thing up and yeah, give it a try.